I want to ask you about the child care proposal and Ivanka Trump and the women next to him. But first, you hit on something a moment ago, and that was trade.
Right.
I think one of the worries, people who are even supporters of yourself and of Mr. Trump, people worry that the trade upset is going to create a lot of dysfunction. If we're redoing NAFTA and we're redoing a deal with China, we're just redoing all these trade deals, does that create disruption at a time that we actually need stability?
Well, look, Donald Trump and I are both free traders. We support free trade. We understand that exports support jobs in the United States. Imports lower the cost of goods for the American people. We recognize all of that. But the simple truth is that 20 years on into NAFTA, it's been a much bigger winner for our neighbors to the south than it's been for the American worker. That announcement by Ford, the announcement by Carrier in Indiana. I was in Scranton, Pennsylvania yesterday. And the policies of this administration have been brutal to families in that community. And so, you know, what you're going to have in Donald Trump is someone who does just what he did in Mexico City. He's going to go and sit down with our partners. He's going to roll his sleeves up, and he's going to negotiate in a way that's tough and fair and make sure that our trade deals are a win for the American worker and for American jobs.
So that means it may not include new tariffs then? Well, because that's what people are worried about. If you put new tariffs in place, is that going to make products more expensive for the average consumer?
Well, I think it's got to be, you know, there's that old saying in business, things have got to be a win-win, right? And we've got a lot of trading relationships out there today where people have access to the most powerful economy on earth, and we have very limited access to their consumers and their economy. And, you know, China is chief among those countries with whom we do business. So I think Donald Trump is just a guy who's going to have the ability to sit down, find out what we can agree on, but then drive a hard bargain and make the kind of deal that will put American workers first.
So you were in Pennsylvania yesterday. Donald Trump was in Pennsylvania earlier this week with his daughter Ivanka, going through in greater detail the child care plan. It includes tax deductions for child care costs, incentives for employers to provide child care at the workplace. Now, I want to ask you about this because you're a conservative. You've got a great following and support from the Republican Party and the conservative movement. But this is going to cost money. I mean, you know, we talked about $2.5 billion just for maternity leave. So you're comfortable with this plan?
I am because we're not talking about mandating anything on businesses. We're talking about creating opportunities for working families and working women in this country to be able to bring a child into the world and have the kind of leave that allows them to get a good start in their life and then have the cost of child care covered while they're in the workplace. I think it's just an idea whose time has come, using unemployment insurance resources to backstop that for businesses that don't currently offer those benefits. This is really just about recognizing the important role that working mothers play.
Yeah, and it was a great point.
And working parents play in the workplace.
It was a great point that you made and that Donald Trump made, that these rules haven't been changed.
That's right.
Since, I mean, in decades. That's and now we're looking at an economy where most people have dual income families. The woman is out there working.
That's right. And to allow people to fully deduct the cost of child care while they're both working. And you know, my wife and I, during many years that I served in Congress, she was a school teacher and art teacher. We were both working. Kids were in school. So, you know, we're a family that has you know, made our own way, as so many other American families have. And I think what you see in Donald Trump and the great vision of his daughter Ivanka on this, who's such an outstanding executive in her own right and a mom, I think brings a real sense of compassion and understanding that it proceeds out of the man that's going to be our next president. But in terms of how you pay for it, you get this economy growing again, Maria. For heaven's sakes, there's a whole lot you can do in this country, including balancing our budget. If you get this economy growing at 3 or 4% or even more, Donald Trump's economic plan that, again, you announced top of the show that he and I will be at the Economic Club here in New York. He'll be laying out that planning once again today. We really do believe, and many leading economists believe, just as it did when John F. Kennedy lowered marginal rates, just as it did when Ronald Reagan lowered marginal rates, when Donald Trump does the same kinds of things and adds tougher trade deals, ends the war on coal, rolls back the avalanche of regulation, we're going to see this economy come roaring back, and we're going to have the resources to meet the needs of this country.
By the way, it was impressive to see Donald up on stage with his daughter and all of those women. We had Marsha Blackburn on this week, right after she was with Donald Trump. Do you think that resonated with women? He's got to crack the women vote. Is this the beginning of that?
I think it is a continuation of a message in this campaign that
are you seeing any evidence that more women are favoring Donald Trump?
We are. I will tell you what, when I was in Scranton, Pennsylvania yesterday, campaigning with Donald Trump and for Donald Trump, there are just as many women at our rallies as there are men. We're seeing tremendous enthusiasm. People are starting to hear this man, to hear his heart, to hear his mind. And also, as we go into the final phase of this campaign, I think people will take a closer look at his long history in business. You've known him a long time, Maria. This is a man who has recognized the enormous importance of women and men in his organizations and empowered them with great positions and trusted them with great responsibility on an equal basis. And I think people are starting to sense that this is a man who wants to make America great again for the women and men of this nation.
Obviously, the health issue has become front and center. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump both releasing some medical records yesterday, but there are still questions that remain about both of the specifics of their health. Will you also be releasing your health records, by the way?
Yes, we are. We requested that information from our physician. I did a physical a couple of months ago. So we'll be putting that information out. And I think the American people have a right to know that information. I'm pleased that Donald Trump announced a few weeks ago that he would release his medical records, whether or not our Democratic opponent did that. But, when American people are going to ask someone to step into the role of the highest office in the land, the leader of the free world, understanding that that person has the energy and the health and the stamina to be able to do it. And I can tell you, campaigning with Donald Trump around the country over the last several months, he is up early, he is out late, he is energized by the opportunity to make this country great again, and I have every confidence that he has the energy and the stamina to really turn this country around.
By the way, I mean, he is going to be, should he become president, the oldest president elected, very close to Ronald Reagan. Have you actually personally seen specifics on his health? Beyond what we've seen, that one-pager? Well,
no, I haven't asked to. I have a hard time keeping up with him, to be honest with you. He's a few years older than me, but most days it doesn't feel that way. He said he'll be the age of Ronald Reagan, age 70 if he's elected president. And I'll tell you, he's the youngest 70-year-old I ever met.
Oh, he definitely seems it. Okay, we're a week away from the first debate. I mean, game on, Governor. Is it possible that he's really not preparing?
Well, I think Donald Trump has been preparing his whole life for this debate. I think the reason why he was able to step onto the stage with 17 candidates and acquit himself, one night after another in the primaries is because this is not a man that's poring over briefing books and studying facts and memorizing catchy lines.
Right.
He's just speaking straight from his mind, straight from his heart, and straight from a lifetime of experience of building and creating things in the greatest nation on earth.
And we know that it's resonating. Governor, great to see you.